Hi, in this video we will be discussing about when a curve is increasing and when it is decreasing. So these are also referred to as the increasing intervals and the decreasing intervals of a curve. In the graph shown, the part of the curve in blue corresponds to when the curve is decreasing, while the part of the curve in yellow corresponds to when the curve is increasing. In the interval where the curve is decreasing, we can see that the gradient of the tangents to the curve are negative, while when the curve is increasing, we can see that the gradient of the tangents to the curve are positive. Given by y equals fx, where fx is a function of x, such as x squared plus 5, then the gradients of the tangents of the curve is given by the derivative of y with respect to x, or dy over dx. This means that when the curve is decreasing, dy over dx is negative, and when the curve is increasing, dy over dx is positive. In this first example, we will be finding the increasing interval of the curve y equals 4x squared minus 3x plus 1. So the increasing interval of the curve are the points on the curve which has a tangent with positive gradient. So in other words, the derivative of y with respect to x, or dy over dx, is positive, or in other words, larger than 0. So the dy over dx is equals to the derivative of 4x squared, which is 4, times by the derivative of x squared, and according to the power rule, we bring the power to the front, so we bring 2 to the front, and we minus 1 from the power. So for x squared, we go to x to the power of 1, which is just simply x, and plus the derivative of negative 3x, which is negative 3 multiplied by the derivative of x, and the derivative of x is 1, so it's negative 3 multiplied by 1, which is negative 3. And finally, plus the derivative of 1, which is equals to 0. So therefore, dy over dx is equals to 8x minus 3. And for the increasing interval, dy over dx must be larger than 0. So therefore, 8x minus 3 is larger than 0. And in this case, we can solve this inequality by adding 3 to both sides to give us 8x is larger than 3. Then we divide 8 from both sides to get x is larger than 3 over 8. This means that our increasing interval of the curve is x larger than 3 over 8. In this second example, we will be finding the decreasing interval of the curve y equals x cubed minus 9x squared plus 15x plus 12. So the decreasing interval of the curve are the points on the curve which has a tangent with negative gradient. Therefore, the derivative of y with respect to x, or dy over dx, is negative, or in other words, less than 0. So we have to find the derivative of the curve. So dy over dx is equals to the derivative of x cubed, which is 3x squared, the derivative of negative 9x squared, which is negative 9, multiplied by the derivative of x squared, which is 2x, and plus the derivative of 15x, which is plus 15, and the derivative of 12, which is 0. So therefore, dy over dx is 3x squared minus 18x plus 15. So therefore, the decreasing interval of the curve are the x coordinates that satisfies the following inequality: 3x squared minus 18x plus 15 is less than 0. So we can solve for this inequality by factorizing out the 3 first. So we have 3 and times in brackets x squared minus 6x plus 5 is less than 0. So therefore, x squared minus 6x plus 5 is less than 0. And the thing inside the bracket we can also factorize to give x minus 5 brackets x minus 1 is less than 0. So when we solve quadratic inequalities, there are many different methods that we can use. But one of the methods that I will be presenting here is we can sketch the quadratic x squared minus 6x plus 5. Since the coefficient of x squared is positive, the parabola is U-shaped. And we can see that the x-intercepts are at x equals 1 and x equals 5. So we can quickly sketch this out. A U-shaped graph and intersects here at 1 and intersects at 5. And since the inequality is when it's less than 0, we can see that x has to be between 1 and 5, which means that the decreasing interval of the curve y equals x cubed minus 9x squared plus 15x plus 12 is when the x coordinates are between 1 and 5. So we can write this out as 1 less than x less than 5.